You are watching Area DMG.
You're listening to Radio DMG.
And welcome back to Area DMG, or rather Radio DMG Versus on Area DMG. I am your host, the illustrious Dr. Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, the mouth of the Midwest, with a doctorate in reality and a master's in context. So, what are we doing in this episode of Area DMG's Radio DMG Versus, or rather Radio DMG Versus on Area DMG? Well, here's what's happening. We're going to be playing the interview with Erica Mendez from Colorado Anime Fest 2017. And while that's going on, you're going to be viewing FAST RMX racing footage that we recorded on from the Nintendo Switch. It's just we playing in the background, you know, there's not any audio from it, but you can get to see how crazy intense and fantastic that game is. And it's one of those things where you're like, oh my god, I'm doing terrible at this game right now. But, yeah, I hope you enjoy that. It's one of those days, ladies and gentlemen, we got all that tiredness, right? There has been some news. And pretty much, let me get into that news real quick before we get into our interview. Well, this is not completely confirmed yet, but you see, I keep track of games coming out for the 3DS, as there are still quite a few. One I was looking forward to is Runbow Pocket, which has a physical release that looks like it was indefinitely delayed again. But I had already put down a good amount of money on that as a pre-order because I try and lock this stuff in. So I just shifted like $5 off my pre-order for that and put that toward Cave Story Plus for the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch. Cave Story Plus. I know a lot of people on Reddit, you know, R3DS, our Nintendo Switch, RDMGI, so if you want to check out a kind of a very barren forum. But yeah, you hear people on that and in our gaming or whatnot just lamenting that it's $30. Okay, people, quit your whining, okay? Binding of Isaac Plus, or rather, the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus has some extra features that aren't on the PC version, items that aren't on the PC version, and, there's an interesting thing. It's a physical release. It comes with stickers, too, and a bitter tasting cart. But the thing from Nicholas is that there's going to be a manual with Cave Story Plus and keychains, and it has 3 different audio tracks to choose from: the Cave Story music, the original stuff, remastered stuff, and then the music from Cave Story 3D. Remember the one on 3DS that's like nigh impossible to find these days? Yeah, that one. Yeah. There's also like co-op, and there's some improvements on graphics even further and beyond what they did on the PC. So, people complaining about that, yeah. Also, I noticed people were complaining about Yooka-Laylee. Now, the thing with Yooka-Laylee is that you can fix camera problems, but I'm waiting to get it on the Switch anyways, so by the time it comes out on that, all the camera problems and other issues might be dealt with. I understand that there are a lot of people who wanted to donate voices to this, so they decide, hey, we have all these people here, let's just go overboard with that. All people really need is a way to change the volume of the voices or cut some of those out altogether, and boom, you're good. A lot of the issues that people seem to have with the game right now are just kind of boring, uninspired level design, of course, and kind of boring, uninspired music. Hey, if you guys want to check out some inspired music, or rather some amazing music from David Weiss, I suggest checking out Snake Pass, which was the game that we were playing in the background for the last Radio DMG Versus. For this one, we're playing FAST RMX in the background. So if you're looking at the screen right now, I'm probably crashing into things, and you're just like, oh my god, this person's terrible at that. I picked it up after having not played it for a while, because I've been playing, Zelda and Snake Bass. And then it takes me a little bit to get into the groove with that. But yeah, there isn't too much news out there, except for the fact that people are like, oh no, YouTube is dying, mainly because of the boycott between out there in Europe. I noticed that the majority of my sponsors, though, or rather the people who watch this, the ad-wise type people, those people are located in the United States, Canada, and Australia. We get quite a few viewers from Australia. So I'm not too concerned about not getting ads on the things in the United Arab Emirates or Israel or the UK. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. And not a lot of our stuff is actually not monetized. All of it's monetized, but you know how that is. So we're going to probably bring back the Patreon, and we start putting some stuff on vid.me, which we'll be announcing soon and putting a little thing out on Twitter. So make sure you follow me at DMGICE on Twitter, okay? And before we get into the interview, I want to say that, hey, we are going to be doing some stuff with the Patreon. So if you have a Patreon account, do consider that it literally costs about maybe I was looking at the expenses for DMG Ice each year, and basic site maintenance and all that stuff costs us about $200. So we might also be doing a streaming thing to try and raise up money for that. I gotta pay bills though. I have bills every month and all that, and this right now is paying for that and helping us pick up some of the cool stuff that we use for the videos and such. So consider that. I don't like begging, you know what I mean? Nobody likes that. It's not attractive. It's terrible. It's kind of awful to do that. But we are still looking for, we all about that cash money. You know what I'm saying? Cash money. Cash money. Got good coffee, actually. It's pretty good coffee. But yeah, we're going to be doing the interview with Erica Mendez from Colorado Anime Fest. And yeah, let's get into that. Let's go ahead and I will see you a little bit on the flip side. Oh, wait. Today, which is April 6, 2017, there's supposed to be a reveal of the new Microsoft Scorpio. It's not a handheld, so I'm not interested. Sorry, Microsoft. Now, if Microsoft wants to put out something like the Switch or a 3DS or even a Vita type device, then you have my attention. Although I did like their Surface Pro Studio. Oh my goodness. Have you seen those things? That's insane. But that's kind of where the future needs to go. We all need to kind of abandon our PC mainframes and go toward tablet type computers and docking computers. I mean, the Nintendo Switch, that's the best part of it, the docking part of it. So, yeah. But let's get into the interview with Erica Mendez. And so, like I say all the time, cue the music. And welcome back to Radio DMG. I'm your host, Will Busley, the Mile High Mouth, and I'm over here at Colorado Anime Fest 2017 with
Erica Mendez.
So, just in case our studio audience isn't familiar with who you are and what you do, who are you and what do you do?
I am a voice actress. I'm originally from Chicago, and I currently work in Los Angeles. I mainly do anime and Japanese video games. I've done a few Western animations, but I'm more known for a lot of my anime work. So I maybe you might have heard me as Ryuko in Kill la Kill, Gon in Hunter x Hunter. I'm the new voice of Sailor Uranus and Sailor Moon, and Deanne in Seven Deadly Sins, and so on and so forth.
Oh, that's the Netflix series.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I finished the first season of that, and like I think there's an OVA thing.
Yeah. They listed as the second season, but it's actually
It's
4
OVAs,
OVAs that bridge to the actual second season whenever that comes out. I'm not sure.
It's Netflix. Netflix is the one paying for that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That must be kind of interesting in comparison. How do they treat their voice actors in comparison to, say, like Funimation or ADV?
I've never met anyone from Netflix. They just kind of give it to the studios, and they're just like, do your thing. So we do, and we get it done.
So, why did you get into acting or voice acting? What was the impetus for that?
I've always been just kind of a creative person. Like, my main creative outlet when I was a kid was drawing. And I've always loved cartoons and video games, and I just became interested in voiceover through a lot of that stuff. So, playing video games like Final Fantasy, and, I watched anime a lot when I was a teenager. So it just kind of became an interest for me, and I started looking it up and, learning how I could get involved with it and stuff like that. And eventually I moved out to Los Angeles and started taking classes and kind of got discovered in a way. And, it's kind of just been uphill from there.
So, when you say drawing, do you mean like fan art, or did you do comics or anything?
I did a little bit of fan art here and there, but it was mainly, like, a lot of the stuff I did in school. Like, I went to college, I have a bachelor's in animation, but the main thing I was actually good at, because I have a hard time, like, coming up with things from the top of my head when it comes to drawing, so one of the main things I was good at was still life drawing. So, like, stuff like figure models and stuff like that, and like, if you those typical bowls of fruit drawings, like stuff like that. Like, I was pretty good at that stuff, more so than anything.
So more figural drawing and such. Like, any mixed media?
I liked working with pencils and then charcoal, but anything else was kind of like foreign to me. I never really got into watercolors.
You're not putting live paint on there and just like
no. Oh no, I never really figured out paint, really. So I wish I had, because I see some paintings and I'm like, wow, that's beautiful, but I just never really learned how to blend very well, I think, to be able to do stuff like that.
So you started working in Chicago, and now you work in LA?
Oh, I never started working in Chicago. Okay, that was just kind of just me doing my own thing. So, like, I'd as a hobby, I'd get together with people online and, like, make projects and stuff like that when I still lived there. But when I moved to LA is when I actually started working actively in voiceover.
So when did you decide to move out to LA?
It was about 5 or 6 years ago. I moved out with my boyfriend, who was from New York. We did a long-distance relationship for about 2 years, and he's also a voice actor and worked in New York. But it was time for him to move on to, bigger and better things, because he was really interested in animation as well. So he decided to move out and, further pursue his career in voiceover. And I just kind of followed him, with my animation degree, thinking that it was going to be easier for me to find an animation job out in California, and still having this kind of acting background a little bit for the most part. Having that slight background helped me a lot, because I had a lot of friends that were already out there trying to make their dreams come true. So I ended up just falling more into the voiceover thing than actual animation, and I'm actually really glad it happened that way, because I feel like I was never, like, great at animation. I just really like drawing, so I'm really glad with the way things turned out.
So more of someone who'd probably end up with animatics.
Yeah, like storyboarding and stuff.
That, you'd end up being like the next Natasha
Allegri, yeah.
Or Rebecca Sugar.
Yeah, something like that. That would have been great. But I mean, I really love doing voiceover, so I'm glad I ended up doing that instead.
So you had like a 2-year long distance relationship. Mm-hmm. As a fellow survivor of long distance relationships myself, what are your tips for helping people over that? Like dealing with that distance?
I don't know. We talked a lot over Skype and stuff like that. So, like, every day we pretty much just, told each other what we were doing, and we'd visit each other every 3 months and stuff like that. So it's just, constant communication. It's like a regular relationship.
Like any relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's there's nothing wrong with long distance relationships.
Exactly. They work.
They get a weird stigma.
Yeah.
Especially in media, where people are like, oh, these don't work. No, they do.
Yeah, they do, for sure.
They do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just got to treat it like any other relationship. You just don't see each other in person as much. But with technology now, it's so much easier to, like, jump on Skype and do video calls and stuff like that. So
it's like that technology has brought more people together. It's easier to connect to.
Yeah, I feel like I know a lot more people who have been in long-distance relationships now because of all that.
So, going back to anime, what first sparked your interest in anime? Or in animation? I
don't know, I just like the creative outlet of it. Like I said, I was always a fan of just cartoons. I watched a lot of, Saturday morning cartoons, like the 90s X-Men series and like Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, stuff like that. And anime was just another form of that, but I felt like anime took a lot more risks than Western animation took. And like now Western animation's getting a little bit darker with your Avatar The Last Airbender and series like that are kind of coming at Samurai Jack and stuff like that. But anime was, I feel like, one of the really big factors of just me knowing that there are other types of genres to animation and like other stories that can be told. And there are a lot more, anime has its series where the females are objectified, obviously, but I feel like there are a lot more stories that in anime that also had strong female characters. Like now you've got, I was lucky enough to play one of those, or a few of those actually, like Ryuko and Kill la Kill and Sailor Uranus and Sailor Moon and stuff like that.
I always thought Kill la Kill was kind of a little interesting take on like essentially a weird postmodern. It's kind of post-apocalyptic fashion. Like it's a weird.
Yeah.
It's like a cross between 1984 and Drag Race or something.
Oh yeah. It's definitely got a whole variety of like different interpretations to it and stuff like that. I like it because it's kind of. I usually don't watch series like that very often. I'm a very like slice of life.
Like Hibernate Renmei or things
stuff like that. Fruits Basket. I loved a series I'm also in called Your Lie in April. So I gravitated more towards stuff like that. But Kill la Kill was interesting to me because I'm normally not like an action series kind of person, but there's just something about the way that it took itself seriously but also didn't at the same time. So it was like a play on that fan servicey genre, but it had a reason for it, and it was kind of like a magical girl kind of thing too. It
just occurred to me you could refer to it as as Prada Wears the Devil in that one.
Oh, yeah, kind of.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Well, going back to actually, I have a quick question about have you been to Colorado before?
I've never been to Colorado before.
What do you think of Colorado so far?
It's very dry. I've static shocked a lot of people here. I have to apologize every time.
Water?
Yeah, I've been, maybe not as much as I should, but I haven't felt sick yet, so I think I'm, for the most part, okay. But everybody here is, like, super nice and polite. I've had so many people come up to me and, like, they're very thankful, and, they're like, oh, please, can you sign this? And I'm like, of course, that's why I'm here, So everyone's just super sweet, and it's been really great.
So what do you think of Colorado Anime Fest so far?
It's good. I like that it's small. I feel like I don't do quite as many small conventions anymore. There are a lot of, like, more of the larger ones, which is, they're cool in their own right, but it's nice. Personal. Yeah, I get a lot more fan interaction in these ones, and I feel like it's easier for people to feel like they can come up to me and ask me questions afterwards and stuff like that. So it's really nice. It's a really chill environment.
So what was your first convention that you went as a guest or as just a fan?
Oh, as a fan, my hometown convention was Anime Central, and I actually got to be a guest there a few years ago. I think it was last year or the year before. I can't remember at this point. But yeah, that was a really cool experience being on both sides. And I think my first out-of-state convention as a guest was, I want to say SoccerCon in Seattle, which I really love that one. I actually went as just a guest last year, and that was really fun. Just kind of being on the industry side, but being able to not have to have any obligations and just being there for fun. So that was really cool.
Oh, have you done volunteering for it yet?
I've never volunteered. No, that's the one part of the convention scene that I've never done. And knowing how hard people work, like, I don't know if I could have done that, because I know some people like get really stressed out. But I mean, props to anyone that does do it. It's a very thankless and hard job.
Speaking of jobs that are hard and stuff, voice acting can take quite a toll out of people. We actually did record your panel earlier today where you're talking about some of the stuff that what do you do to psych yourself up to and prepare for some of these harder roles, like the yelling?
Yeah, I've learned a lot since Kill la Kill about taking care of my voice. So I learned to drink more water. I'm always going through like a bottle or two of water for, you know, any 2 to 4 hour session. I always have a cup of tea with me. I've learned to drink a lot of green tea with honey, and that helps soothe the throat. And I've gotten into this Chinese cough syrup called Ninjongpeipakoa, which is a throat coat, and like throat coat teas and stuff like that. So it's mainly about keeping hydrated, and I probably don't do as many like vocal warm-ups as I should before a session, but when I do remember, I do, you know, your basic like scales and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard people like mention like apples and things are a good thing to eat with that.
Yeah, because they help. Actually, for me, I feel like it doesn't help very much, but I do it anyway if people ask me to, just to kind of for peace of mind. But it's supposed to help with the clickiness in your mouth, because I mean you've got a lot of saliva, you know, working around there. But I feel like it makes my mouth juicier in a way. Argh! Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't be eating this, but you know, whatever.
At least it's not like gum or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, don't.
Saliva
don't
generators, yeah.
Well, going back to the convention, what would you feel the energy of this convention is so far? How would you feel the energy's going?
I feel like it's been very positive. Like I said, everybody's been really nice, and you know, sometimes you have bad experiences at cons. I've been lucky enough to not have very many, if any at all. But this one, it's been going pretty smoothly. Like, I mean, a few things have been, you know, late here and there, but you know, there's enough time between things to where I can stay after for autograph sessions in particular. So I make sure that I can sign everybody's stuff. And
yeah, I feel like that little buffer that they've got there between the panels is amazing.
Yeah, it's been really good.
It's pretty good for that. Well, speaking about the energy of the convention, one thing I've noticed at these conventions, you'll have a lot of people who they go to a convention or an event like this, and they have just this boundless energy, this boundless joy.
Yeah.
That happens they have when they're there, but when Monday rolls around and they go back to their job or their school, and they deal with the pressures of like other employees or employers or classmates or bullies or whatnot, that energy just seems to drain away from them.
Yes.
Do you have any suggestions on how people can take that joy and energy from the convention and keep it with them during everyday, I guess, life?
Yeah, that's hard to say, because I've definitely felt that like whole post-con depression thing as a fan and as a guest. I don't know, I just say, you know, take whatever positive experiences you have throughout the con and just, you know, keep those in your memories. I used to like taking a lot of pictures at conventions and kind of looking back at those to kind of, you know, fun times I'd have with my friends, or like cool people that I met, or like I still like to buy a lot of little trinkets. Like I did my shopping spree yesterday and bought way too much stuff. So you just kind of look back at your stuff, put it on your bags, and like keep that reminder of the weekend with you.
So before we go, is there anything that you'd like to promote, and how can people find you on social media?
Oh yeah, a game I was in called Tales of Berseria just came out pretty recently. I play Eleanor in that, and that one's really exciting for me because I love the Tales of series. That's one of my favorite JRPGs to play. And Tales of Berseria has been great. I've been playing a little bit of it. I just got announced to be in the Funimation title Gossick. So I play Avril in that, and that should be exciting. It's coming out in May, I believe, the end of May. And then Seven Deadly Sins, the 4 OVAs just came out. Hopefully that means whenever the second season comes out, we're doing that. I don't have official word on that, unfortunately. And then Cyborg 009 Call of Justice is also on Netflix. I play 001 Ivan Whiskey in that one. He's a telepathic baby, which is really cool because I didn't have to mess with lip flaps, which is very relaxing as an actor who does dubbing. And as far as social media, I'm on Twitter a lot, and you can find me at Tsunderica. It's TSUNDERICA. And I also have a Facebook fan page. I can never remember the link to that. I think it's just Erica Mendez voice. And I'm also on Instagram. It's the same as my Twitter. But yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much for this interview. I've been your host, Philip Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, here at Colorado Anime Fest 2017 with
Erica Mendez.
And until the next episode comes out, you are now caught up.
And that was our interview with Erica Mendez at Colorado Anime Fest 2017. I want to thank you for sticking around through all this awful FAST RMX racing footage and our horrifyingly boring interviews. Actually, our interviews are fine. I hope you enjoy them, you know what I mean? But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Was there anything that we talked about that you want to know more about? What do you think of the interviews? What do you think of FAST RMX? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Thumbs up, like, whatever. You know, hit that thumbs up, like, share this with your friends, your enemies, your family. Force other people to watch it. And make sure you hit that little subscribe button. And make sure that if you hit the subscribe button that you hit the little bell next to it so that you are notified whenever we have brand new Area DMG videos out there, you know? That way you'll know. You can be on the notification squad. You can know about that. You can know about the wonderful mess that we make here at Area DMG. I hope you enjoyed all this. And until the next episode comes out, you are now caught up.